What is going on, everybody? It's the Frost Wing here for AEW on TBS Review for August the 31st, 2022. We are on the final Wednesday night before All Out. This is the final night, of course, of August as well, so we are into September starting in about 2 hours. So tonight the question was, what is going to happen in the main event with the Trios title tournament final for Wednesday night, which should have been the finals. I do not care about the Dark Order versus the Elite at All Out. I do not care. I don't care about the Best Friends versus the Elite at All Out. If you would have booked the United Empire to go all the way through this show, it would be something big. But I see the reason why it's not going to be able to happen is because in 2 nights' time, or 2 mornings from now, New Japan Pro Wrestling starts their Burning Spirits tour, which will Ospreay, of course, on the 25th of September, which is the final night, which will be the only one I'm watching because all the other ones are tag team matches. He will be putting his United States Championship on the line against David Finlay in what should be David Finlay's crowning achievement in winning the United States Championship. But that is then. So, Will Ospreay will not be available for All Out. That's why they had this match here. If Will Ospreay was not going to be a part of the Burning Spirits tour and could be here in the stateside going into September 4th, absolutely you would make this your main event. But thinking about it, looking at the schedules and everything, it makes sense why Ospreay and them had to have their match tonight and why they could not go past this match. And I know everyone wants to see Will Ospreay versus Omega at Grand Slam. It's just not going to happen, unfortunately. But before we get to that match, we have Jon Moxley kicking off the show. Comes to the ring, he gets a mixed reaction from Chicago. He tells them that they're still moping, that they're they're still mopping up CM Punk from the mat in Cleveland. He described somewhere a couple years ago, someone described him at Punk as a modern day 60-minute man. But that was a load of crap, and he claims to test people. He claims he tests people, and last week we learned Punk is what Punk is made of. He said Punk knew he'd keep coming forward all night, and at the moment he looked for a way out and folded, and he's genuinely sorry that Punk didn't turn out to be that what anyone wanted him to be. When they welcomed him back, they gave him a second chance. Moxley said Punk has a fragile ego, a fragile body, a weak mind, and weak spirit, and says that they know now move on. He says, I have an open contract for a title match at All Out. He signed it. He has signed it. It's signed, sealed. It's ready to go. And he doesn't care who it is going to be. He tosses it in the ring. He teases at someone from AEW. Maybe somewhere else. He mumbled his words a little bit. Maybe even somebody from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Even called out Rocky Romero because Rocky Romero is the liaison between Gato and New Japan Pro Wrestling and Tony Khan and AEW. So Rocky, if Tony Khan's gonna call up for somebody at All Out 0 Hour, which is gonna be the pre-show this coming Sunday, we have Tomohiro Ishii versus Eddie Kingston from a rematch from the New Japan Pro Wrestling show match, I believe at Capital Collision, one of those shows that they did earlier this year. So that's a match that's gonna happen, and my goodness. But anyway. He says before he step into the ring with Moxley, he can out-marathon them, out-sprint them, out-fight them, and out-wrestle them, and he gives fewer you-know-whats than anyone else. He puts it inside the ring, heads out, Ace Steel, after a minute or two, walks into the ring, grabs the contract, puts it in his back pocket, and walks out. So we all know, gee, I wonder who's going to be facing Jon Moxley at All Out. Who is Ace Steel's best friend in AEW? Good stuff. Good stuff from Jon Moxley. Backstage, Jericho claims All Out is a nightmare match for him or Danielson. He says Owen and Stu might have appreciated Bryan Danielson's skills a little bit more, but they'd be impressed by how much Jericho has changed the game and what he has done for pro wrestling. Then here comes Daniel Garcia. Apologizes about being immature and everything that happened last week. He pledges his loyalty to the Jericho Appreciation Society. He says Jericho just needs to be himself to get the job done. Doesn't need to cheat or anything else. And Jericho says he will be the Lionheart on Sunday, but until then, he warns Bryan to watch his back. So we go into our first match. Bryan Danielson versus Jake Hager. This is Jake Hager's best match in AEW, and it ain't even close. This was amazing. This was great. Danielson and Jake Hager went out there and just beat the living piss out of each other. Danielson, of course, over as hell. Jake Hager, like, of course, we had a 6-man booth or whatever. We had Tony Schiavone, JR, Excalibur, Taz, William Regal, and Chris Jericho all on commentary. Too many people on commentary. Mind you, too many. William Regal was going to be there later for the Fatal 4-Way, which, let's talk about that later. So why did he need to be here? You don't have to have William Regal out here for every Back Cool Combat Club match. Just saying. So these two beat the shit out of each other. Like, they were trying to like do submission moves to each other, ankle lock, label lock, Juji Gatami, back and forth. Danielson then aims to hit the running drop kicks on Hager, slams him into the count with a counter, yet Bryan's able to avoid the clothesline. Comes in with the Buseko knee for the pin and the win, and Danielson picks up one hell of a fight win right here. After the match, 2.0 hit the ring to attack Danielson, but Claudio and Wheeler Yuta level on the playing field, and the giant brawl breaks out. Jericho then comes to the ring with a chair as he was on commentary. But as he tries to hit Danielson with it, Daniel Garcia comes from behind, pulls the chair away, and he's like, dude, you don't need to cheat. You just need to be yourself. You need to be the Lionheart, not this guy here. And he's just yelling at him and other stuff. Danielson's up and hits the Buseko knee, leaves his opponent lying, and there you see Daniel Garcia just looking like, I fucked up again. We go to commercial break. We come back. The Wingmen are in the ring. I have one with this. Why is JD Drake still with the Wingmen? They literally had JD Drake and Anthony Henry on Dark last night. And you had JD Drake say that he is done with the Wingmen. It's only him and Anthony Henry from here on out. So why is he out there wasting his time? Why are you doing that? It doesn't make any sense to me. I just doesn't make any sense why you're gonna have that. That just shows you that, of course, like dark and dark elevation does not matter all the time when it comes to everything AEW. It's like they'll talk about, it's like, oh, why is this person getting a number one contenders match? Why is this person the number one contender? Oh, they won matches on Dark. But when you literally have JD Drake on Dark last night say, I'm not a part of the Wingmen anymore, only for him to come out with the Wingmen tonight, holding up a sign, wanting them on TV more, just, I don't know. Wow. So, they come out here, they start saying some bunch of bullshit, how this is going to be Wingman Wednesday and everything. And then, all of a sudden, some music plays, and boom. W. Morrissey returns to All Elite Wrestling. He comes out, and W. Morrissey comes out and beats up the Wingmen, leaving them laying. Stokely Hathaway walks his ass down to the ring as well. Hands W. Morrissey a business card. W. Morrissey, of course, sits there and shakes his head, puts the business card in his pocket, and walks out. We need to see what are they going to be doing with Stokely Hathaway. They keep showing this guy coming out here, giving these guys business cards, and that's it. Nothing. I don't know what we are expecting. Are we gonna have a big, huge feud? Are we gonna have this lead to some kind of War Games match or something, like Blood and Guts match with these guys? I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense what they're doing. Will also says after all the undermining tonight is the night, but now the Don Callis shows up. He praises Ospreay's recent work. He doesn't think he's the next Kenny Omega. He thinks he's the first Will Ospreay. Absolutely, they are not one and the same. And tonight will be the most exciting match since the last tag bout they shared with Omega. Omega hit him with a one-winged angel. We have Jamie Hayter and a literal pile of shit versus Tony Storm and Hikaru Shida, who is the Regina de Wave champion from Brave Pro Wrestling in Japan. I don't care so much about these other company titles on television. Just if you're gonna have her championship from Wave Pro, leave it on Dark. Leave those matches on Dark. And Hikaru Shida wins after Tony Storm hits the sweet cheek music to the Faker, the little pile of shit. I'm sorry, I don't know how we don't hear more words of concussions coming out of the women's division in AEW. Because Tony Storm hits that fucking hip attack to somebody and their head bounces. It's not just one of those things like she hits them and their head doesn't move much. Their head fucking bounces. How we haven't had a concussion in AEW from the women's division, I don't know. Now, Pac is the All-Atlantic champion. And Pac will be defending that title on the 0 hour against Kip Sabian. And Kip Sabian says Pac will be the first to embrace this change on Sunday. I'm sorry, I hate to say this, but Kip Sabian is not the one to beat Pac. The only person who should be beating Pac to keep this New Japan Pro Wrestling thing as cozy as possible is Will Ospreay. You don't have Chris Charlton on the night that Will Ospreay wins I think it was the semifinals to go to the finals against Kazuchika Okada in the G1. You don't have Chris Charlton on there say that Will Ospreay is the true All-Atlantic champion if you're not going to have Pac versus Will Ospreay somewhere down the line for the All-Atlantic Championship. Whether that's at Full Gear or Wrestle Kingdom, I don't care. But that is the match, and that is the guy who should be beating Pac for the championship. That's just me. Video package of Miro, Darby Allin, and Sting discussing the House of Black. Allin claims that Buddy Matthews and Brody King don't need Malachi. He needs them. Especially, he mentions how Malachi was nowhere to be seen when Brody won the Royal Rampage. Nowhere to be seen when him and Brody King had that match, a couple weeks after. So, basically on Sunday, we're getting Miro, Darby Allin, Sting versus the House of Black. Anybody wondering what's going on with the House of Black and them? There you go. House of Black needs to win. They need a win. Miro can chase, and eventually it's going to lead to probably an Arthur Ashe, maybe. Maybe it's a little too early for that. Between Arthur Ashe and Full Gear, we're getting Miro versus Malachi Black, and that should be a banger. CM Punk then makes his way to the ring and says he's breaking his foot would have been bad enough, but when he wrestled a full match, accidents happen. Which, yeah, he broke his foot on the jump going into his first night after winning the championship. He broke his foot on that jump. Then he had a full match, which thankfully it was a tag team match because it could have probably been a lot worse if he went into a singles match on television after breaking his foot. That would have been even worse. By the way, anybody who tries to say that Cody Rhodes Cody Rhodes wrestling with his pec was one of the gutsiest performances ever, bullshit. The pec's torn off. You can't get it. You can't hurt it anymore. CM Punk had a gutsy performance. Yes, it was a trios match, but CM Punk was more gutsy in that trios match with FTR than Cody Rhodes was. I'm just saying. Just saying that right now. He shouldn't have said that. He said he takes a shot at a fan claiming he has more screws in his foot than how many times that fat guy in the corner, fat guy right here, has been screwed in his life. He admits he shouldn't have said that, but he's done a lot of his things in his career he shouldn't have done. He says something about last week didn't sit well with him, and he says he didn't get cleared. He did get cleared last week. And he is 100%, but it's a new 100% and doesn't know if that's good enough. Says he knows the business doesn't always love you back, but the fans love him back, and that's why it hurts thinking he let them down. And he questions if the love isn't good enough anymore. And here comes a steal. It's like, what the fuck happened to you, man? What are you doing? What the hell is this? This is not you. And he mentions how he coached CM Punk. He trained CM Punk. Says he had a hell of a career of himself, but he's more proud of CM Punk because he's been there with him since day one. And says, you don't let anybody in Chicago down, but you're going to sign this contract. You're going to face Jon Moxley at the pay-per-view. And you said it yourself. The more time, it doesn't matter. It's how many times you get up. You get knocked down. It's how many times you get up. It's you getting up slaps the shit out of him and tells him to get the fuck up and fight. Gives a pen and paper and tells Chicago to remind him who he is. He did hug Steel and says before he was CM Punk, he was a punk rock kid in Chicago. They've been trying to kill him since the day he was born, and they're not found someone man enough to do it yet, and Moxley isn't him. Charges up the ring and into the crowd, and he tells Moxley that all out he can't break his bones or drink his blood because they are Chicago, and Punk puts the pen to paper, signs the contract, making the match official. And this right here, this is so much better than having CM Punk versus Jon Moxley one-on-one at the pay-per-view. Oh, Punk got injured, he came back, he won, boom. No, this is so much better. It's all going to pay off. Everybody was fucking... There was a lot of people pissed and worried that the whole thing with CM Punk last week was a bad idea. Well, obviously, Tony Khan knows what the fuck he's doing, and we got ourselves a hell of a fucking main event. All the heat. It took him 1 week to get the heat on for this match, and I can't wait. FTR Wardlow versus Silas Young, Ren Jones, and Vic Capri. This was pretty much a 3-on-2 handicap match because Silas Young did not get in the match whatsoever. But before we get to that, Jungle Boy and Christian Cage are sitting down with JR. No physicality because Jack will learn he's not in his league. Jungle Boy says he's cared about Christian a lot and the relationship had felt familiar and he loved Christian. He knows this is the real him all along. Cage said he's here for the money. He's here for himself. He's not here to make friends. While Jungle Boy says his father taught him how to be a man. And this Sunday, you're not fighting Jungle Boy. You're not wrestling Jungle Boy. You're fighting Jack Perry. So he better come out come out announcing him as Jack Perry and not Jungle Boy if that's what he's going to do. Now we have that 6-man tag match, which really Silas Young, which he deserves better. Silas Young is too good to be a fucking on a jobber team doing absolutely fucking nothing but just keeping the turnbuckle rope warm. FTR and Wardlow win. That was that. Jon Moxley heads back out to the ring and says, if that's what the boy wants, it's what he will get. If Punk wants to go on a shield in front of his fans, then he owes Chicago that much, and Moxley confirms the title match is happening this Sunday at All Out. Mox says if Punk thinks he has another miracle, he needs to find it fast because he's trying to take his head off. Mox is going to showcase a display of violence that Punk has never experienced and will show what a real champion and a legend being made right before his eyes looks like. There you go. Cannot wait for this match. It's going to be a lot of fun. As for the trios match that we had before that, it was unnecessary. You could have used that time for something else. Tony Schiavone is shown backstage with the Dark Order reveal that Ten is out of action with a knee injury, legitimate knee injury. But Uno will take his spot on Andrade El Idolo, then appears and asks Uno what happened as he used to have power. He's thinking about giving Ten a contract, and he says he has a good body, take the mask off. Uno then says the Dark Order is forever and leads to Andrade attacking him with a crutch. And for whatever reason, Jose the assistant had a taser and tased Ten for no fucking reason. Ten's got a knee injury. He couldn't get up and do anything. All you had to do is just kick him in the knee and he's down. That's it. Dante Martin versus Ray Phoenix versus Roosh versus Wheeler Yuta. These are 4 men who are going to be in the Casino ladder match with the Lucha Bros, La Facción Ingobernables, the Blackpool Combat Club, Yuta and Claudio Castagnoli, and Dante Martin and one Joker. Now, before we get to the match, let's go back a little bit. I would be absolutely fine if Roosh and Andrade were able to convince Preston Vance to take off the mask and leave the Dark Order and join La Facción Ingobernables. Just because it's called La Facción Ingobernables does not mean you have to be from Mexico. You have to or be born of Mexican descent. La Facción Ingobernables was in Ring of Honor, and it had Kenny King in it, and a couple other people. So I would love to see them do something more with Ten, because Ten's really doing nothing, and he's floundering in the Dark Order. The Dark Order, honestly, in my opinion, needs to slowly break apart. They are done. They're absolutely done. Uno can go off and do something. Maybe he can become an evil guy and join another group. Ten can go do something else. John Silver needs to break out. Alex Reynolds needs to turn heel as well. Give us something else, because the Dark Order has outlasted the expiration date. Let's just say that. They're like going in the fridge, going to get some milk out of a jug, and they read the jug is a week past its expiration date, and it smells like utter mold. Yeah, that's the Dark Order. They're doing nothing. So we have this match here: Ray Phoenix, Dante Martin, Rush, and Wheeler Yuta. This was awesome. Just 4 guys who can go out here and have a I can't like recap this match. This match was just absolutely nuts. Now Wheeler Yuta did pick up the win, getting the seatbelt on Dante Martin, which I think Wheeler Yuta should get the win here. Good on them. John Silver and Alex Reynolds was shown backstage, and they're happy to have the 3 guys in the tournament if they need to have. But Hangman Page then appears and says if he needs a partner, so he's happy to do it. Obviously, that was then announced that we were getting Hangman Page and the Dark Order versus the Best Friends. Like I said, John Silver needs to break out and become a solo star. Alex Reynolds needs to be like, we need a feud between John Silver and Alex Reynolds ASAP, because everybody John Silver, Alex Reynolds has got to be like, they were building to something with Alex Reynolds, and then we had to celebrate Brody. So you could always do something if you do it right, where you have like tributes to Brody Lee. You don't have to keep the Dark Order around to be a tribute to him. They've done everything they could do. Grayson's gone, Alan Angels is gone, Anna Jay turned heel, Preston Vance needs to join the LFI, the La Facción Ingobernables. Something needs to do. Main event time. Will Ospreay, United Empire, Aussie Open versus the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Kenny Omega with the trolling all of Will Ospreay with his introduction. Like, he has held more titles than Will Ospreay. He is told to be better looking than Will Ospreay. He has a 1-0 record against Will Ospreay. And it's just like, oh my, just rip it into Will Ospreay. I love it. I thought they were going to book this match a little bit differently. I thought we were going to get, because everybody wants to see Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega, one-on-one, fighting each other. I figured we'd have one of the Young Bucks start and maybe Kyle Fletcher start or his partner start and go back and forth for a bit. Have a match go on. Will tags in, but Kenny Omega stays out. Kenny Omega tags in, Will stays out. And then we get to the big spot in the match where you have the hot tags. Both of them tag in. The fans have been chewing out. We want this to happen, and boom. No, they went right after Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega immediately. These guys went at each other immediately. Beat the living shit out of each other. Like, holy shit. I didn't expect that to start off that way, but the first 10 minutes of this match was mostly Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. Of course, the United Empire and the Aussie Open and the Young Bucks got into this match as well after a bit. Now, there was one spot towards the end where it really looked like Aussie Open was winning. The United Empire was winning. Like, holy shit. They hit a trio move or something on Matt Jackson, I think it was, and it was the closest to 2.99999 you were ever going to get. Was taken out. V-Trigger to Kyle Fletcher. One Wing Angel to Kyle Fletcher. 1, 2, 3, and the Elite move on to the finals at the pay-per-view. Now, as the Elite is celebrating, Will Ospreay is on the apron, on the ramp, just got this look of, I'm not done with you yet. We're going to have this happen again very, very soon. When that match happens, I don't know when it's going to be. It is not going to happen at All Out. At Grand Slam. But since we're going to be talking about this, I'll have a prediction for All Out this coming Friday. I had 2 predictions to give on Friday. Fuck. Yeah, so hit that subscribe. You know what? I'm gonna do double predictions on Friday. Tomorrow. I'll have a double prediction on tomorrow because we have 2 pay-per-views to go over. But until then, this was a really good show. This was a great newsworthy, great go-home show. We still got Rampage, which is going to be live on Friday. Cannot wait. SmackDown, of course, is taped, which is weird. Which is very weird that SmackDown's going to be taped and Rampage is going to be live. But we got SmackDown and Rampage on Friday, Clash on Saturday, All Out on Sunday. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video, find me on my France Club, find me on twitch.tv/France Club, and find me on Instagram at the France Club. And I'll see you guys on Friday for SmackDown and Rampage. Well, tomorrow actually for a double prediction. Until then, my name is France, and I'll see you guys later.